Proverbs 4, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all thy getting, get understanding.
Listen, with inaccuracy, they try to get at me, but can't even fathom what it takes to be like a nigga like me.
This is Literary Interest as of late. I am Sam Young-Bey, your host, and as always, welcome to the show. On this episode, we'll be thumbing through. This is part 2 of the We the People series, aka Sovereign Citizen Literature. And in some of the pages, we'll cover common law, uniform commercial code, without prejudice, and something that the lawyers did in 1938. And later you'll hear maxims of commercial law. So let's get into it. Page 1, the foreword. This is a slightly condensed, casually paraphrased transcript of tapes of a seminar given by Howard Freeman in 1990. It was prepared to make available Mr. Freeman's knowledge and experience in his search for an accessible and understandable explanation of the confusing state of the government and the courts. It should be helpful to those who want to develop a deeper understanding of this information without having to listen to 3 or 4 hours of recorded material. Page 3, the introduction. When I beat the IRS, I used Supreme Court decisions. If I had tried to use those in court, I would have been convicted. I was involved with a patriot group and I studied Supreme Court cases. I concluded that the Supreme Court had declared that I was not a person required to file an income tax, and that tax was an excess tax on privileges granted by government. So I quit filing and paying income tax, and it was not long before they came down on me with a heavy hand. They issued a notice of deficiency. Page 4, section 1. Never argue the amount of deficiency. Fortunately, I had been given just a little bit of information. Never argue the facts in a tax case. Maxim, arguments are for fools. If you're not required to file, what do you care whether they say you owe $60 or $60,000? If you are not required to file, the amount doesn't matter. Don't argue the amount. That is an issue of fact. By arguing the amount, they will just say that you must go to tax court and decide what the amount is to be. By the time you get to tax court, the law issues are all decided. You are only there to decide how much you owe. They will not listen to arguments of law. Page 8, section 4, 1938 and the Erie Railroad. Well, I began to investigate. I found that 1938 was the year of the Erie Railroad versus Tompkins case of the Supreme Court. It was also the year the courts claimed they blended law with equity. I read the Erie Railroad case. A man had sued the Erie Railroad for damages when he was struck by a board sticking out of a boxcar as he walked along beside the tracks. The district court had decided on commercial law, negotiable instruments law, that this man was not under any contract with the Erie Railroad and therefore he lacked standing to sue the company. Under common law, natural law, he was damaged and he would have had the right to sue. This overturned a standing decision of over 100 years. Page 11, section 10, common law. Common law, natural or constitutional law, is based on our Creator's laws as originally presented by Moses. Anytime someone is charged under the common law, there must be a damaged party. You are free under the common law to do anything you please, as long as you do not infringe on the life, liberty, or property of someone else. You have a right to make a fool of yourself, provided you do not infringe on the life, liberty, or property of someone else. The common law does not allow for any government action which prevents a man from making a fool of himself. For instance, when you cross state lines, you will probably see a sign which says, "Buckle your safety belt, it's the law." This cannot be common law because who would be injured if you did not buckle your safety belt? Nobody. This would be compelled performance, but common law cannot compel performance. Any violation of common law is a criminal act that is punishable. Pages 14 and 15, Section 16, Uniform Commercial Code. The government established a colorable law system to fit their colorable currency. It used to be called the law merchant or the law of redeemable instruments because it dealt with paper, which was redeemable in something of substance. But once Federal Reserve notes had been declared unredeemable, there had to be a system of law which was completely colorable from start to finish. This system of law is codified as the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, and has been adopted in every state of the Union. This is colorable law used in all of the courts of the nation. Page 52, without prejudice. Without prejudice serves notice upon any agent that you are not waiving any of your stated Bill of Rights. Be aware of agency procedure and sign everything with the reservation to make the instrument non-assumpsit, free of liability. Page 57, 1938, April 25th. 1938, April 25th, the Supreme Court overturned the standing precedents of the prior 150 years concerning common law in the federal government, because there is no longer silver or gold coined as Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. There is no federal common law, and Congress has no power to declare substantive rules of common law applicable in a state, whether they be local or general in their nature, be they commercial law or a part of law of torts. Erie Railroad Co. versus Tompkins, 304 U.S. 64, 82 L. ed. 1188. Page 59, Statutory Jurisdiction. As one of the uniform laws drafted by the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws and the American Law Institute governing commercial transactions, including sales and leasing of goods, transfer of funds, commercial paper, bank deposits and collections, letters of credit, bulk transfers, warehouse receipts, bills of lading, investment securities, and secured transactions. The Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, has been adopted in whole or substantially by all states. See Black's Law 6th edition, page 5131. In essence, all court decisions are based on commercial law or business law with criminal penalties associated with it. Rather than openly calling this new law admiralty and/or maritime jurisdiction, it is called statutory jurisdiction. America is a bankrupt nation owned completely by its creditors. Pages 65 through 66, Maxims of Commercial Law. Maxim 3, in commerce, truth is sovereign. Exodus 20:16, Psalms 117:2, John 8:32, 2 Corinthians 13:8. To lie is to go against the mind. Oriental proverb, of all that is good, sublimity is supreme. Maxim 5, an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. 1 Peter 1:25, Hebrews 6:13-15. He who does not deny admits. Maxim 10, a lien or claim can be satisfied only through A, rebuttal by counter affidavit point by point, B, resolution by a jury, or C, payment or performance of the claim. Genesis 2:3, Matthew 4, and the whole of Revelation. If the plaintiff fails to prove his case, the defendant is absolved. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, subscribe to my channel. Let me get a like down here so YouTube will know what's going on. And hit that notification bell also. Leave a comment too. Alright.
In the midst of all the fury with infernos blazing hot, 10 toes in, still I stand, not consumed with all the fire. Like the Hebrew boys drug before the viceroys, you raise the temper pie. You still see me roaming freely, dancing in all of the light.